This is Tired Gents Podcast, episode 17, Vaccine Edition. Well, friends, I'll keep working on that fading, but we are live on the intranet, bringing to you a freshly baked episode 17, Tired Gents Network here, coming to you live from Edmonton and London, Ontario, with my main man, at Kootenai Pow on Twitter. I'll let him do some shameless promoting here. My man, Earl the Pearl, the Earl of Sandwhiches. We call him Voykins. Max, welcome to the show.
11:44 p.m. Ontario time.
I don't know how you're doing this.
Doug Ford knows where we are. He knows where we are. We're home. We're in my basement. I'm safe. I have police monitoring the streets. We're happy.
Cheers to that. We can cheers to that. There we go. Well, friend, it's been a while since we saw each other. We had a good episode. I don't think we've released it from the vault yet, but in time, listeners will come to love the nautical navy stories of Sir Max and all the other amazing tidbits. But we're carving out a fresh episode today, and our listeners are going to love it that we've amped it up to 40 minutes. And remember, friends, the week is coming to a close, and if you comment on this video as well, too, you are entered in a contest for some free TGP swag. Not this hoodie. You can't get that hoodie yet, friends. But we're carving out some fresh t-shirts, and if you're local, I'll hook you up. If you're tuning in from, Great Britain or something, that could be a little bit hard. I could try to swim across the ocean, but we'll figure something out. But Max, are you ready to get rolling, sir?
I'm ready. I'm excited to do another episode with you, bud. Let's do this.
Do it. Topic number 1. Funny enough, we're kind of staying away from the NHL. You know, it's been a quiet week for the Canucks. I wonder why are they? Oh, right. We won't get into that. The Oilers haven't been playing, so we got to focus our attention and efforts to this little league we call the BCHL, the British Columbia Hockey League. Max, where do we want to start in this BCHL chat?
Well, we should probably talk about the best team in the league, Penticton Bees, and how they lost their first game of the season.
I see that. They're 7-1, 14 points, a 40-12 goal differential here. They're plus 28. Are they the team to beat in the league again?
You know, I got a soft spot for the Trail Smoke Eaters. Great local Kootenai team. But the Kootenai teams, them and Cranbrook, they're not that strong. So it's a little disappointing to see the V's give one up to a mediocre team like the Smoke Eaters. But, I know West Kelowna Warriors, they're looking to chomp on this a little bit and make a move to take dominance in that division.
You know, it's funny you bring it up with the Penticton pod. We're talking about the pod season. We're about 8 games in to this 20-game pod season, and sources tell me, handsome sources tell me, that they're not quite sure if the league extends past this 20 games. So we're almost halfway done this pod season, and when I look at the divisions of, we've got the Port Alberni pod, the Coquitlam pod, the Vernon pod, the Penticton pod, and the Chilliwack pod. This Penticton pod is there's domination happening here with Penticton V's at 7-1, and then you go down to Cranbrook Bucks. 1-6 record for 2 points. They're at a -20 goal differential. A little lopsidedness in this, whereas where you look at all the other divisions, and it's a race. Like, it's tight in all these divisions. So I don't know.
Greg, can you tell me? Can you give me the record of Salmon Arm? What's their record?
Salmon Arm sits slightly atop the Vernon Pod. They're a 4-2-2 team for a total of 10 points. We've got Vernon Vipers with a 4-2-1 record, so 1 game less, with 9 points, and our friends of the show out in West Kelowna, 3-3-1, good for 7 points, but currently, right now in the second intermission.
Not a losing record.
It's not a losing record. It's 3-3-1. So it's a 500 record on the stats site. They're currently up 3-2 on the Vernon Vipers. My boy Johnny D and Net holding it down. So we're hoping for a big dub from the big dub West Kelowna Warriors tonight. So you've got Salmon Arm leading the division, the big Silverbacks, but it's tight. I kind of mentioned it on last episode. You've got goal differentials all within 1 of each other. You've got Salmon Arm with 29 goals for, 29 against currently, Vernon with 25 and 26 against, and West Kelowna with 25 and 24. That is like a on par division. So
you know what I'm really liking, Greg. I love watching this young little stud. I think he's 16 out of West Kelowna, named Tyson Jugnoth. I believe he's a product of Wisconsin. Kid's an Adam Fox knockoff. Just completely. I'm expecting a big season next year when it's a full regular scheduled season with fans in the audience. This kid is something to watch on the blue line.
He is something to watch. I think we might coin him on the show the Juggernaut. Shout out X-Men or Marvel or something or other. But he's a 5'11", 160 build. This kid's gonna grow a little bit, I'm sure. He's the hometown kid coming out of.
Needs a little bit of weight.
Yeah. He's the hometown kid coming out of Kelowna. He's committed to the University of Wisconsin moving forward. But, absolutely. Expecting some big things. He's averaging 1.29 points per game, 1 goal, 8 assists for a total of 9 over 7 games. And we're talking a defenseman. So I think he's only going to grow as a player. I think the stats are only going to increase. And I think I see some bright, sunny days ahead for our friend Tyson.
For Jugnoth. Sure. For sure. Sunny days in Philadelphia. Can you the other way, let's talk a little bit about Carter Wilkie. Silky
Wilkie. We can do that. Where do we start with this guy who's tied for team lead in points?
Well, let's talk about his heritage. Where is he from? I think he's an Alberta kid.
He is an Alberta kid, and as much as I try not to include shout-outs to Calgary or Calgary, I'm not sure where it is. He's a Calgary boy. He's a Calgary kid. Stands 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. He's got that solid forward frame. He shoots right, so I'm a big fan of that already. Committed to the Rochester Institute of Technology. 7 games played, 6'5" for 11 points, 1.57 points per game. I don't think there's a lot of knocks against this kid's game right now.
No, I mean, the kid's 20 years old, so he better produce, and he has been. And I just love his style. He's kids really showing his own with the pandemic affecting things. They started off with that little small Okanagan Cup last fall, and now they've been waiting ever since, practicing hard. It takes a lot of time and dedication for a 20-year-old to not be distracted in a pandemic. Like, the kid's probably wondering, like, what am I going to do? But he brings it to the ice every night, and I just love love his silky little moves and his silky mitts when he pulls those snipes off.
Absolutely.
On the right side.
So, our friend Christopher, friend of the show, I think, if we can make a comparison, we've got Carter Wilkie, we've got Tyson Jugnoth, defenseman, and we're going to talk about my boy Marcus Jugan, my favorite name to say. Is this not the McDavid, Draisaitl, Barrie trio currently forming on the West Kelowna Warriors? You've got 2 forwards, you got your defenseman. Can we make that comparison?
Greg, I think that's a little premature. Next year, I've had some chats with management. They really want to stack together, a proper season, right? And next year, I think they really got a good team on ice, especially if all their American players can come up and play. Obviously, they're shorthanded this year. It's not the full team that they intended to ice, but I think you really got to watch next year. It's really fun to watch. I'm super excited to see what they're going to do this year. But, I'd like to see them go for a cup next year and, be dominant for a few years here. And I think they really go.
If I'm hearing you right, it kind of sounds like you're laying the groundwork for maybe a boys' road trip out to Kelowna for next season to, get front row on the glass, maybe seats, maybe get treated right from the friend of the show. But, when I say the McDavid, Draisaitl, Barrie comparison, I'm just saying that's your triangle right there, right? You need those. And I have to mention, I mentioned him at the top there, my boy Johnny D holding it down in net. So they've got 2 forwards, they've got a defenseman, they've got a goaltender for this season. Granted, they're going to lose a few guys in the offseason to their colleges and whatnot, but they're doing it right.
Greg, we're really missing the point of leadership, and we're talking about Ilan and what a situation that has put the team in. But I saw the video today. I really appreciate the type of grit, character. He's like a Damon Langkow. The guy he'll do everything. He'll stick up for his teammates, as evidenced by the suspension recently. Personally, feel that's a little excessive. Brad could have been a little nicer on that, but the coach didn't need 3 games. Gave more than a handful to our boy Ilan. We really got to save this kid's future. That's a big percentage of the games that are available this year. That's a quick decision. I think a little bit. Yeah. He's the type of guy that you could put on the ice in any situation.
For sure, right? And that's what you need in the room. You need the leadership in the room, and that's what my boy Ilan, I like to call him the BL Dub. That's what he's bringing. And 9 games, like that's a what's that saying? Like a knee jerk reaction by our boy. Like, do we even call him our boy Brad Lazarowicz? Amazing linesman.
Guys, an NHL linesman. Career linesman. What are you gonna say?
Again, I saw the video, and I'm seeing 2 guys at the end of the game with a little bit of sour taste in their mouth, and they had to settle something. But I listened to the commentary, and they're talking about the linesman needing to step in, and if Brad Lazarowicz was listening to that, he was a NHL linesman, and I think when you hear that, the linesmen have a job. They if they're gonna step in, you step in. But these guys were willing, they were able. They take care of business for 15, 20 seconds. BL Dub, we're going to score them the victory on the fisticuff. But 9 games, we're giving them 9 games. That's 50% almost of the pod season here. We're talking about a kid's future. I think that's a little drastic. Am I right to say that?
You know what? You are right. You are right. But, that league in particular has gone through a lot. They used to have a J in their name, I think, but it's no longer there. They used to be affiliated with the Canadian Junior Hockey Series. They're not there anymore. They're independent. Love it. They can make offers now to free agents down in the States without worrying about compensation for raiding territory. It's a very bold entrepreneurial move by the league's presidents and general managers. I commend them for that. Wish them luck as well. But it's such a weird year, Brain. We just got to really watch and see what happens and what plays out this year. Not a lot of games. I don't agree with that particular suspension. I think it was pretty heavy-handed. I think a little bit of a pro on a bit of an ego trip here, but let's. What else we got on the agenda to talk about?
Well, we've got a lot more here in this stacked episode 17. I did want to just kind of finish and conclude. Obviously, West Kelowna finishing up tonight's game against Salmon Arm. Vernon, I should say. They played Salmon Arm previously. They've got an impending game against Salmon Arm on Sunday, and they're right back at it on Monday against Vernon. So the schedule, it doesn't get much easier for West Kelowna, but positive vibes always behind that team. And remember, boys, just have fun. And if a couple years from now you still want to play, I know there's a Golden Seal team out in Edmonton, Alberta, that could always use a few more power forwards. That's PF. That's PF for short. Power forwards. Little inside joke there for
little NHL shout out or what?
Little MHL shout out, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. That's some potpourri coming down the pipeline in the future. So we got to transition a little bit, switch gears. It wasn't the greatest segue in the world, but we're working on it. We're working on those things. I see the 05 lottery draft, and I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of just like dissect the lockout lottery draft that landed the Pittsburgh Penguins the Crosby sweepstakes. Now,
that was a long time ago, Greg. Some of these listeners, they might have been born that year.
We do not discriminate based on age or ageism, or I don't even know what the word is. But this is called a throwback a little bit. This is 2005. What were you doing in 2005?
Hey, what are we talking about here, Greg? Best five or the worst five or the biggest failures?
I just wanted to kind of rip through round one because those are first round picks. These are the players that, you don't want to give up first round picks. These are the guys that you want to build your team around. We're going to talk about some hits. We're going to talk about some misses. And then maybe we're going to talk about a few hidden gems that, statistically speaking, they say past the fourth round, you have a less than 7% chance of playing in the NHL. So you're pretty much a career AHL, ECHL, Europe guy. But maybe you find that odd gem. And we know our friend Kenny Holland in Edmonton, who was previously employed by the Detroit Red Wings, that scouting staff, they were the experts of diamonds in the rough, so to speak. So
Jacob Kindle that year.
Okay. Well, to refresh our listeners' memories, Sid the Kid, he goes number one. We knew that it was going to happen, and that set them up for success. How many cups has Sid won since then? Maximus, how many has he won?
Three.
That's right. He's won 3 cups, right? He had a solid, goaltender in place. He had Letang. He's got Malkin. And we're starting to see that maybe a little bit in my team, the Oilers. But let's not get too caught up on Crosby. So I'm just going to rattle off a few here. Give me some thoughts right away. We've got Bobby Ryan, number 2 to the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. What do we think? Hit or miss?
You know what? Bobby's been through a lot. I'm not going to really rag it on him. Great USHL player with some sick dangles and a tough home life.
Yeah.
Well documented. And I wouldn't start with anyone other than an Owen Sound attacker. Great OHL franchise. They're my brother-in-law's hometown, formerly the Platters, I believe. Great community, great hockey talent coming out of there.
Boulder.
Bobby Ryan, number 2. Jack Johnson came out number 3. I don't know who's had it worse. Bobby with his tough home life, and then you hear about Jack and the pressures of his hockey career and where he ended up and the rough road he came through. It's pretty nuts the way this round opened up 1, 2, 3, Greg, because we all know those three are the three that get that first picture that gets on a hockey card that kids collect. Absolutely. Right?
So let's dive in a little bit here. Let's rattle off a few. So we've got Benoit Pouliot, Oiler nostalgia. He goes to the Wild at 4. Carey Price, 5th overall as a goaltender. Gilbert Brulé, another Oiler nostalgia member, goes to the Columbus Blue Jackets, with Jack Skilly going to the Blackhawks, Setaguchi to the Sharks, Brian Lee to the Sens, and R.I.P. Luc Bordon to the Vancouver Canucks, rounding off your top 10. So we take a look at Pouliot, Price, Brulé, Skilly, Setaguchi, Lee, Bordon. Who do we like? Who don't we like from that? I think it's pretty obvious.
You know what, Greg? Devin Setaguchi is a name that we were all too familiar with, but people forgot about him. This was a kid in a top 10 draft pick in first round that sort of got forgotten and then came out and really lit up the league for a couple of years. And I don't know if he really got the credit that he deserved when he was playing as well as he was. This kid was a stud in junior, and he showed it. Carey Price, I think, is somebody number 5 for a goaltender. Any goalie drafted in the first round is takes a little bit of a bit of kahunas there as a manager president to do. So I think those are pretty solid picks. A lot of promise, a lot of disappointment.
I think we know who we're talking about. We got the Jack Skilly to the Blackhawks. I'm not sure how many. I'm just going to pull it up real quick here. Amazing. Any guy that gets drafted in the first round, we can't take anything away from him. But when I take a look here, Chicago.
299
how many games?
Greg? 299.
99. And I see teams.
Not enough to earn a pension,
but Florida Panthers, Columbus Blue Jackets. He even ended up on the Vancouver Canucks for 55 games in 2016-17.
Greg, you know what? I'm going to cut you off there. I'm sorry. We got to talk about Luc Bordon. 36 games. That's all he played.
Well, that's all he did play, right? And what's your memories of Luc Bordon?
Really, the Canucks defense has not been restocked since through the draft. I really feel, we had a strong core around Matthias Olin. Luc Bordon was our next kid, and that motorcycle accident was just very tragic. I feel like Luc got overshadowed by the mental health of Rick Rippon, because it was a Luc Bordon, Rick Rippon 1-2. Very devastating for a franchise with a lot of promise.
Absolutely, I can still remember, and as much as I downplay the Canucks and my Flames and not my Flames, but the south of the city, you still gotta acknowledge these guys that they were good people. They were good people. So let's go on to the next 10 here. I'm gonna just rattle off some names here. We've got Kopitar to the Kings, Mark Stahl to the Rangers. We've got Marek Zagrapan to the Sabres. There's that Sabres drafting again.
Hey, how about Toronto Maple Leafs drafting Tuukka Rask in the first round?
You jumped me a little bit because I was only going up to 20, but we can include him in that 21. And
you want to talk top 10 players in the first round? Tuukka Rask has to be in the name.
And we know a little player named Phil Kessel, and he changed the landscape of that trade forever and ever and ever. And Tuukka Rask continues, but that.
Can we talk about the toilet bowl of the first round?
What are you talking about the toilet bowl of the first round?
Well, Steve Downey, we can really spend a whole podcast talking about him, but kid was a bit of a beaut and
Windsor
junior.
Spitfire.
Kind of got a little bit of a bad rap in the NHL.
You gotta watch out for those reputations. Whether you're a student, shout out my Michael Fair Griffins that are probably watching way past their bedtime. But reputations are a big thing. What kind of...
Can we talk about Steve Downey? What was your favorite Steve Downey? Was it Philadelphia Flyers or was it Tampa Bay Lightning?
When I think about Steve Downey here, I'm more of a... I think of him as Tampa Bay, I think a little bit. 08 to 2012. But let's just... I just want to kind of focus in on 2009, 2010, where he puts up 208 penalty minutes. 208. By God, Steve Downey, you're an animal. And that's all I got to say about that. He did put up 238 in Pittsburgh in 2014-15, but that was just like he was a maniac. That's a first rounder that and to be a first rounder, you got to have skills, but to know that what he kind of turned into a little bit and
he was a 2020 scorer that year too.
So Steve Downey, I tell you. Hey, I just want to get back a little bit here. We've got a few no names. Again, taking nothing away from these gentlemen. Sasha Pokaluk to the Caps. Ryan O'Mara, we know him in Edmonton a little bit, to the Islanders. Alex Barrett, Martin Hansel, Ryan Perron, Jacob Kindle, and then we've got Kendall McCardle. We've got a lot of names that I don't really remember hearing much of. Do you have a standout from 10, like let's call it 11 to 20? I think Kopitar tops my list.
Yeah, I mean, I had the opportunity to take Kopitar in a couple early season trades this year in my fantasy pool. One or two of them actually, and I really wish I do. He's been so unreliable on the fantasy scene, Kopitar. I really hate to cheer for him, but I appreciate where he came from. The guy's a clear all-world stud, and he's still proven it in his late 20s. How old's the guy got to be? 29, probably. Greg. What is he, a 1990? What is he? Maybe he's older. I don't know, but Ansar Kopitar is just a guy that I refuse to take because he's so defensively responsible. The guy might only be a 60-point forward, but at the same time, he can put up 90 points any night.
It is crazy. But most of all, he can always fall back on his good looks, right? We can agree on that. Shout out.
How about your boy Andrew
I'm glad
Cogliano?
Cogliano, those bring me back to the days of
you got any stories on him, Greg?
Overtime winner.
You were a season ticket holder. I was a season ticket
holder at this time, and this is kind of the start of the decade of darkness. Funny story, I did run into Cogliano, although we did not exchange any pleasantries, at a Lululemon out in Vancouver, probably around like the 2009, 2010 era of Andrew Cogliano. Not a big dude by any means, very well built, strong legs, but has a successful career. I do want to touch on, and I'm sure you know what. Strong legs. This guy, on November 4th, 2017, he played his 800th consecutive game, placing him 4th place on the NHL's most consecutive games played list, and it ended. The streak ended on January 14th. Do you remember why the streak ended?
No, but that's a really underappreciated statistic. Any Iron Man type top 10 is, you might not get talked about very much, but you're a part of a lot of teams.
The reason it ended was he got suspended for 2 games. And I remember the press conference and the guy broke down. You're going to take away his Ironman streak on a suspension that, in my opinion, was a little bit of a Brad Lazarowicz decision. But you couldn't do that to the guy that just pours his heart and soul in anything. He was almost like mini Smitty, really, in Oilers fan lore. Always good things to say about Cogs. Still remember the young kid.
The guy got chelled.
He did get chelled a little bit. He did get chelled. So that kind of rounds off our round one of players. Some guys.
Greg, where are we at the time?
We got 10 minutes. We're going to extended overtime. It's going to be like I said, jam-packed episode. I hope our viewers, they got some popcorn, maybe some Big League Chew, maybe some Mike and Ike's. I don't know. Shout out Mike and Ike's. We could use a sponsor already or two. I like Mike and Ike's. I looked down after Tuca, 22, Matt Lashoff. We got Nicholas Bergefors. I see my boy, TJ Oshie, number 24, drafted to St. Louis Blues.
Stanley Cup champion.
That's right.
20.
Cogs goes 25 to the Oilers. The Flames take a defenseman by the name of Matt Pellich. Joe Finley goes to the Washington Capitals. Then we've got a Matt Niskanen to the Dallas Stars. Steve Downey, 29 to the Flyers. And Vladimir Mikalik. So, we talked about, Cogliano. I think we could agree. Is TJ Oshie not the creme de la creme after Tuukka Rask in that bottom third?
Yeah, you know what? You know who is someone in consideration? I'm going to give this guy the honorable mention category, Greg, is the Masonic number 33. Look at round two, number 33. Who do you have?
That's the real steal. And again, my friend of the show, Christopher, might argue why, but James Neal to the Dallas Stars, a Plymouth Whaler going 33. I always like this guy's game. I still like it. He's slowed down a little bit, but power play specialist, lethal when you need him to be, and he also looks good on the taxi squad from time to time. He also looks good on the taxi squad. So he's helping. He's helping, not hindering, in my opinion. Let's look at round two. Any other names jump off the list to you?
Yeah, Paul Stastny, number 44. Guy just jumps out, pure, oozes pure skill. Only other real guy that round that I really want to talk about, other than Andrej Pavlich, maybe might be Mason Raymond. Guy's just a good looking Alberta kid. You're just one of those guys you want to go to the Stampede with. And
shout out Camrose Kodiaks for sure. I still remember hearing stories about that guy, and not too far away from our age, but great player. Did a little bit of damage.
I bet he was a big Valley Jamboree guy.
I think they call it the BVJ. If I'm correct in saying that. Not a BJ. Got to be careful. This is 14A edition, there, Sir Maximus. But we're teetering on the line. I look at round three. The names that jump off the page. We got Letang going to Pittsburgh. We got Jonathan Quick to the LA Kings, and we got Ben Bishop again to the St. Louis Blues. So those are our big name standouts, I'm going to say, off of round three.
Whoa, you went to third round
exactly.
all of a
There's
sudden.
Nobody else that we really need to talk about in round two, unless you want to talk I don't know, Adam McQuaid or...
Can we talk about Ben Bishop? Is this goalie really a number one draft, top 4 round goaltending number one fantasy option for people, or has he now become a Devin Dubnyk, who's now been picked up by Colorado as a backup? This guy, is he a backup now, or is he still?
No, he's not a starting caliber. His time has passed. I think pretty much after the Tampa Bay Lightning made their choice and they kept Vasilevsky and they shipped Bishop off to the Stars, it kind of, it told the story right there. I think he had a decent year that first year, but we see who's in the crease, right? You could.
Yeah, it's like the top of the gondola at Jasper, it's just you hit the peak and it's still a nice view on the way down, but Ben, I think he's toast, eh? Is it
It's Kudobin's.
Kudobin's
It's
Crease or
Kudobin's
whose is
Crease,
it?
and right now there's a rookie. The name escapes me, like Ottinger, I believe. I don't hear too many Ben Bishop references. So, I want to focus. I'm going to go a little bit quick here. If you see something that you like, I want you to let me know. But I scan all the way to the very bottom. All the way to the very bottom, I see round 7. Round 7, the last pick going to the Nashville Predators. He helped me out a little bit in the MH. There's another MH shout out there for you. But my friend Patrick Hornquist drafted the Nashville Predators, but now of your Florida Panthers. He kind of rounds off that 7th round draft pick or 7th round draft class. We're getting into the nitty gritty. These are I hope you know what you're doing, because these guys either pan out or they play one game for your whole franchise.
Greg, Patrick Hornquist, what a crazy way to end that draft class, because what a stud that guy ended up being playing with Crosby. It's unbelievable. Really, really crazy. Where I was going to go, I was looking at the games played. Obviously, that's the cheat on Hockey DB. But the one name that really stood out was hold on here. I'm coming at you.
I'm a patient man.
Ryan Reeves for fantasy pools that really count on hits. This guy has been everything Vegas Golden Knights could have possibly wanted. He's just really killing it in my one fantasy league with individual categories for statistics that include hits.
Absolutely. And Ryan Reeves, arguably toughest guy in the NHL currently.
Would you say that?
I think it's his belt to lose right now. There's a big boy down in San Jose. His name escapes me. He went toe to toe with Reeves going a couple 2-3 weeks ago. I don't think there's anybody tougher than a Ryan Reeves, and on a Vegas Knights team that he can still skate, and he's still got some silky middies, not maybe silky Wilkie, but some silky middies. He does all right for himself.
No, you're absolutely right, and I'm trying to pull up that stud out of San Jose. The guy's been knocking guys out all season.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's not afraid to throw down with anybody right now.
I don't know that they drafted him. He may have been an inheritance, but great signing from San Jose. Guy's been throwing down some golden gloves for sure.
I think all in all, we take a look back at that 05 lottery draft, quite top heavy a little bit, and a few diamonds in the rough, so to speak. Rounding off with Patrick Hornquist there at the end of the round 7. But do we say the strongest draft class of the last decade or so? I would argue not. But that's going to be another conversation for another episode, because we got to keep moving on. We got to keep.
Yeah. You know what, Greg? I'm from London, Ontario. Very strong hockey town. Big Hunter family. London Knights, a very reputable junior city. Not one player drafted in the first round that year, so I got to say it's not the best, but it was a good one.
Still a force. Was this is going off track a little bit, but was our boy Robbie Schremp? Was he a London Knight? Do you know Robbie Schremp? Well,
1 year.
There you go. So it can't happen every year. That's why you got to retool on the fly, and I think that's why those GMs of the Dub and the O and the QM and likewise, they got tough jobs. They got to retool always, and I
wish you had a Robbie Schremp.
I don't. Other than he's got the silkiest middies of all. That guy could do whatever except play at an NHL caliber. So
except play at an NHL caliber, and he had all the potential to do it. You
know what? That could be a future episode right there as my not failed, because we always want to give guys credit and keep it positive, but the misses of the draft. Maybe we dive into that in another future episode. Your Canucks
Yeah. Robbie Shemp has a standing invite at the CLI
Absolutely. You know,
too.
we got the Christopher Laurie Invitational Tournament. He can come and join us. He's probably got some crazy tricks up his sleeve. But I think that's what we do in a future episode. We pit together our best roster of failed draft picks
Yeah.
of the Canucks versus the Oilers.
You tickle it. That's what you do to the
Absolutely.
CLI
Well,
team.
I can already think of right off the top our captain, Jason Bonsignor. That's right. I'm going there. Who would be the Canucks' most failed draft pick? Can you think of one off the top?
A few of them, like Sergei Shirokov
Okay.
in recent times. Cody
Okay.
Hodgson, probably the most talented recent player drafted. Top 10, never produced. You know, uh, Buffalo didn't treat him very well, but that was more his own doing as well. Patrick White, another big shout out to Vancouver in terms of failed
and
top
again,
draft picks.
we show nothing but love to those gentlemen. But for every hit, there's always going to be a miss. Well, I hate to inform you, we are now officially in overtime for Tired Gents podcast episode 17. Again, you can always follow us on Twitter at Tired Gents. You can catch an episode or go back to episode 1 on the YouTube channel Tired Gents. But I think we got to keep it short and sweet because I can only imagine at 12:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you got to be getting tired by now.
Greg, we got lots to unpack here. So
okay. I like the positive attitude. I like that energy. So next on the topic du jour, we're going to go concerts. So I'm going to throw it out to you first. I'm going to let you do a little bit of rambling here, but I got to set you on track. I'm going to say currently playlist in the car, you're going to work, you're getting pumped up for a day, whatever it is, previous work, whatever, you know what I mean. And then I want you to get into the concert scene. Your top 2 or 3 concerts you've been to as a child or a man child, and then I got to get the bucket lists. I got to know what you got to see before you kick the can. This is where I pass the baton. Go.
Well, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start going to concerts till the last pandemic. My first concert ever was the SARS concert in Toronto, 300,000 people, not a big deal. Saw Justin Timberlake get water bottled while dancing with Mick Jagger. It was 10th row there, bud, to AC/DC and Mick. They had some pretty beauties there. Tea Party, Jeff Healey. It was a pretty wild pandemic relief concert. Looking forward to some of these festivals coming back. Rocking a shirt here myself, the Anger Management Tour, number 3.
G-Unit.
M&M, G-Unit, D12. Pretty solid little concert down in White River Amphitheater in Washington State.
You know what the best part is? I still remember all of it. All of it. It was just the greatest.
It was a pretty good little get together. A lot of good shows in Edmonton. 50 Cent out of Edmonton, pretty remarkable in his own right.
Pretty sure he wore a George LaRock jersey. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I got a free Yayo poster somewhere in the back here. Jay-Z, I gotta say, I got engaged and my wife took me on my birthday to the Jay-Z Timberlake concert in Vancouver. Pretty good show, gotta admit, was pretty awesome. Erykah Badu, saw some cool shows in Vancouver. Squamish Music Festival 1 and 2, those were good concerts. If I were to have a bucket list, though, there's a few guys I haven't seen and girls. I like everything from small concerts in the Yukon to 300,000 in Toronto. So, but I would take. I've seen The Weeknd. I haven't seen Drake. I'd probably see Drake, see what he's all about. Bob Dylan. I haven't seen him. Greatest songwriter ever alive. Would be fantastic to say you've seen him. And I'm a big CCR guy. I'm a big John Fogerty. I'd love to see him perform.
That's music to my ears. That's my boy, John Fogerty. My boy's gonna play in the big leagues. I don't think that's his song though. That's Bryan Adams. But I know what you mean. CCR, traveling band, down on the corner, like all day and night. I could do it. I think John Fogerty came through River Creek Casino out in West Edmonton not too many years ago. I missed it, but not the next time. Those are.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the rain, Greg? Because you got to see it.
You know what? I don't live in Vancouver, so I don't see the rain often. But nor do I.
Nice segue. That was the greatest segue of the night.
Nor do I see the ocean either. And hey, do you know what time it is right now? Do you know what time it is?
What time we got? I got a Citizen Eco Drive sponsored by Citizen Tire Gents podcast. One of two great Japanese watchmaking companies.
My iWatch is dead currently, so I don't even know what time it is other than the top right-hand corner of my screen. So shout out Apple. Can you extend the battery life? Because I'm a busy guy.
Yeah, you know what? We're in overtime here. That's what time
it is.
What do we got left to talk about here, Greg?
I got to still shout out some of my memories of concerts. If you can entertain me a little bit here, my playlist in school, it goes two ways. I've got the Lake Life playlist, and you're a fan of the lake. What lake do you go to again? Where's that lake?
Greg, there's nothing better than Christina Lake, but
I'm talking your lake, your current lake that I see those nice pictures from all the time.
Yeah, Lake Erie, big lake out east here in Ontario. Lots of shipwrecks, lots of sandbars, but pretty good spot. This Potahawk piss up is something that's legendary. I've yet to experience. You want to talk bucket list? Got to get to the Potahawk.
Is that the lake that you're on in all those pictures? Is that Lake Erie?
That is the Caribbean of Ontario, Lake Erie.
Are there any otters in that lake?
Only in the river, Greg.
In the river. Well, it's Erie Otter. I thought I'd ask. Okay, so I've got the Lake Life playlist, and that goes through the alternative jams, a la Pearl Jam, and the Nirvana scene, and the Offspring back in the junior high days. And then we get a little bit of country for Megan Jamie. Got to shout her out a couple of times an episode. I've got this classic 60s solid gold oldies. I dig on those jams.
Greg, do you think like Carl Winslow would have been more of a Weird Al fan or a Adam Sandler fan?
Neither. He would be digging on James Brown all the time.
You think so? Oh, so that's an Al Bundy then. Al Bundy would have been...
Al Bundy is listening to Led Zeppelin. Hammered drunk. Front row. Just tearing it down. Tearing it down. But...
Just throwing touchdowns.
Throwing touchdowns. 4-touchdown poke high. That's right. He's a living legend. So, to school with the kids, it's Lake Life. But then when it's off to school for me, we got to throw in a little bit of Eminem essentials. We got to throw in a little bit of old school '90s hip hop, maybe a little bit of EDM. I get my techno fix a little bit. So that's currently on the playlist. My concerts, top creme de la creme, Anger Management 3. No one can argue with that. That was we walk in, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys just bumping. We had Mobb Deep. We had 50 Cent, we had Lloyd Banks, we didn't have Tony Yayo, we did have Young Buck, I believe. We had Eminem at Frontline. Oh, it was just the most incredible concert from start to finish. Smaller concerts on the top of my list. I got to host a suite in the old Rexall. Shout out that old stadium. Alanis Morissette headlined, but Sloan actually opened. Sloan and Money City Maniacs when that came on. Ooh, that was my jam right there. Other concerts, I saw Bruno Mars going back a few years ago. That guy knows how to entertain. Many a rap shows in Edmonton, from the game going back-to-back nights at the old Reds. Shout out Reds. Or actually, shout out, it's the name's escaping me, but Taylor should know best. He lost a few ivories at that place.
The Rummy Jungle.
Rummy Jungle. He dropped a few ivories at Rummy Jungle.
Was he on the piano?
No, the Chiclets. Yeah, the Whites.
Oh,
yeah,
the Chiclets.
Yeah.
Not the other. Oh, the other
yeah,
podcast.
So the other podcast. But we'll get him on here another time when it's not date night and he's not having fish and chips with the fan.
Yeah, Gus MCT needs to put down the cheeseburgers.
Exactly. Well, or the fish and chips. And we're gonna get the real story of the Rummy Jungle and the lost Chiclets. That's soon to come. I'm thinking one last concert that really stuck out to me. It was on the tip of my tongue, and then we started talking about Rummy Jungle and all the tomfoolery that existed there. So it escapes me.
Greg, you must have been to a festival like Burning Man or something like that.
Never been to any big festivals. Never been to Big Valley. Never been to Pemberton. Would I like to go to?
What about the Stampede? You ever go down south?
Does this look like a guy that goes down to Calgary to party? Come on.
Okay, come on. You're born and raised in Edmonton. You must have been to Calgary once.
You lose your Edmonton rights if you go to the Stampede, okay? No one. Wow. You go to K-Days. To K-Days and
props and big props to
never
you, bud.
I didn't go celebrate on the Red Mile in 05 or 04. Didn't do any of that. Never. Yeah. All right.
I never been to the Stampede myself, so you and I got that in common.
Consider ourselves lucky. That's right.
All right. Or unlucky.
Now we are. This is. I think now we're in golden goal time, a la FIFA World Cup, because we're coming down the stretch. And we got a little bit of potpourri, and you know what? I'm gonna put a time limit right now. We're coming in at 52 minutes right now. This is an extended Tired Gents podcast, but I'm gonna put a time limit of 5 minutes.
Yeah, we need a Maradona here.
Well, the hand of God. I need you to kick it off with this is potpourri. This is what you want to talk about. This is the shout out to our boy Neil Parasinchuk.
Is this Neil
Parasinchuk leaving the top shelf goods on the top shelf of the fridge in the man's house.
He's a pretty fun guy.
He's a fun guy. So, take us down an avenue. What are we talking about? Go.
Well, we got to talk about being tired here, Greg, because this is the Tired Gents podcast. And, I'm going to talk about taking my boy out of daycare. I'm going to be tired for a long time here, guy. Ontario clamping down on Alberta, not wanting to send any doctors our way. We get it. It's a dangerous time here. It's a pandemic. We got to be safe. We're doing this thing remotely. I'm from my basement. I'm not masked. If we were, I would. You got injected there. You're vaccinated. I appreciate
Vaccine episode.
It's a very essential job here at Tired Gents podcast, but it's scary times, and we made the drastic decision to take our boy out of daycare. We have a newborn baby, so we're gonna be pretty tired around here, Greg.
That's some sweet smelling potpourri.
Gotta stay on top of your B vitamins, your D vitamins,
the sun. Shout out the sun.
Your echinacea and zinc. You gotta be dialed in here. Keep your immune sharp. Do some exercise every day, and stay safe.
I always make sure to take that Centrium, and that's A to Z right there. And all the mocha is you got to do some Pilates here and there, and you just keep your stick on the ice and expect good things to happen to yourself. So, potpourri for me, let's see, just some randomness. One thing I do want to mention is the students that I work with each day, that I don't feel get enough credit. They got to wear these masks all the time. They can't even mingle with each other. They're in the classroom all the time. Don't do this. Don't do that. Put your mask on. You can't have school teams. You can't have intramurals. There's no school council. And these kids are rocking it right now. And they're the true warriors of the pandemic, in my opinion. And, maybe it's not super fun to be around these kids these days, but hey, let's give these kids some credit that they put on their hard hats and they go to work every single day and they're doing their best. And I always think about the long term and I worry about them. I worry about them a lot.
Yeah.
But
these kids they got it tough, and I'm glad you acknowledge them. They're toughing it out in a really hard world. They're doing their best, and they got to know that we got Tired Gents Nation behind them.
Absolutely, Tired Gents Nation, full force for the kids. For the kids. All right, friend. This is now. Do you remember that game? Oh man, this is going back quite a few years ago. I think this was the Yager-led Penguins against the Islanders, maybe, and it was like a 6 OT battle. Do you remember that at all? It was a lengthy game. You just type it up on the Google machine, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know what? I would have been probably paying attention to the Leafs losing that year in the first round.
Perfect. So we're on the same page because we're in that area of time length. And again, if you've made it this far, friends, just stick around a little bit longer because that's what we do. We're together. We fam. We straight fam. And we got to end it off with the fam stuff, friend. This is the dad stuff. So Daddy Voykins, what's going on in Dad's world these days?
Well, we're in a tough bind here in Ontario, but we're going to make the most of it. We're going to do a lot of bike riding, a little bit of tree fort building, a little bit of gardening, learning about the birds, the bees, the hummingbirds, and the snails and the worms, man. Got to go fishing. We got to go dig some worms. We go in the backyard, flip a rock, It's the way she goes.
She goes.
I got a 5-year-old and a under 1-year-old, so we'll be spending a lot of time outside. Looking forward to spring. April showers bring May flowers, so gotta deke and dive, but we'll be outside every day.
Absolutely, and outside is the place to be. I love outside. We've got the trampoline in the backyard. We've got the park behind our house. We've got the bikes. We've got the scooters and the skateboards and the rollerblades. Don't worry, they're fully equipped. No knees are getting skinned. No hands are getting mangled in the process. But dad stuff for me, we're in the process. We're making big moves. We're on the move ourselves. We're thinking of, we are listing our house, and I'm kind of nervous. I'm a little nervous for our 3 boys because the park life. The Sandlot crew that they've formed these bonds with, I'm a little worried that they're going to be a little sad upon departure. So dad stuff right now is we're making sure we make the most of these days. And if we do make that impending move to move in with Mama Brain while we house hunt 2021, is we're going to bring them back to the hood. We got to bring them back to the hood, but just like time, life goes on. So I'm thinking about that, just trying to keep the kids happy, trying to, just do a good job all around.
Yeah, get your steps in, bud.
Your steps in. That's right. Hey, that's not a problem for this guy. That's not a problem because phys ed is life. That's right. Well, I think we did it. Did we not?
We did it. I gotta go, my pal. Great podcast. Hope the viewers loved the little bit of content we put out there today, and stay savvy out there in Canada.
Hey, one of the hashtags of the show: it can only get better from here out. So again, we got to thank our 22 subscribers, and we got to thank of all the viewers out there that are clicking on this. There's no clickbait, friends. I promise there's no clickbait. We got merch coming out soon. I want to put some free stuff on your back. So remember, you got to comment on this. You got to leave me a question or a comment on our Twitter at Tired Gents. But this is that segment that we got to wrap up. And I always got to remember you to be good people and take care of each other. And be kind. Give a virtual hug or a high five and tell a joke and make someone smile. And sanitize your hands. And wear a mask if you need it. And like my man Kenny Omega always says, goodbye and good night. Bang! We will see y'all in the funny papers. We out. Tired Gents Podcast brought to you unofficially by the West Kelowna Warriors. Soon, but maybe not. Stay tuned for another episode coming to a YouTube channel near you.